very best, like no one ever was. To catch them is my real test, to train them is my cause. I will travel across the land, searching far and wide. Each Pokemon to understand the power that's inside. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. It's you and me. I know it's my destiny. Pokemon, oh, you're my best friend in a world we must defend. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. A heart so true, our courage will pull us through. You teach me and I'll teach you. Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Wormys Playhouse. And just recently, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee just released on the Nintendo Switch. And I have to say, this game has some mixed reviews. A lot of the main core fans are a little bit disgruntled about the game, taking game mechanics from Pokemon Let's Go and bringing it over to the main series, even though Pokemon Go on the cell phone app was downloaded over 750 million times with a consecutive user base of 65 million people every single month. 65 million! So true fans of Pokemon, well, they're playing Pokemon Go. Believe it or not, Pokemon fans are actually playing Pokemon Go because it is, it's a fun game. It's addictive. You gotta catch them all. So what are my impressions of Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee? How does the game fare? Is it worth your time and money? Well, we're gonna talk about that. So as I said as I started this game up, I had very low expectations. I wasn't expecting a full in-depth game. Very bare minimum, a fast game, maybe about 15 hours of gameplay, and that will be it. And maybe I'll just enjoy it for some fun on what it is. I think some of the criticism comes with the fact that it is an easy game, and yes, at the beginning it is a very easy game. The first 10 hours or so, I was progressing through it pretty easily. I was able to use my main Pokemon, which was Pikachu. I was able to use him in most Pokemon trainer battles, but as you progress through the game, I came to realize that you can't just use one Pokemon. You have to use a wide array of Pokemon because each one of them have different abilities. There's a fire type, there's an ice type, there's a psychic type, there's a ground type. There's all different certain Pokemon with different abilities that have certain strengths and weaknesses towards other Pokemon, much like all the traditional mainline Pokemon games. So that aspect is still true in this game. So just trudging through, fighting through with Pikachu or Eevee as your main Pokemon, well, you're gonna have some difficulty in this game actually. So I completely realized that I have to change out my strategy. I have to play to the game. Use different abilities, fight against strong Pokemon towards weak Pokemon. And once I did that, I realized that there's a whole in-depth strategy to fighting Pokemon trainer battles. And one of the main criticisms about this game is the way that you catch Pokemon out in the world is extremely different from what people are used to. Again, this is a spin-off series for the Pokemon Go game, so this holds different from the mainline series. Pokemon has done this again. There are over 122 known Pokemon games out there. Majority of them are Japanese games, but again, over 122 known games, so there are gonna be spin-off Pokemon series. Remember Pokemon Snap back on Nintendo 64? That game was nothing like Pokemon. There was no battle in that game, but that game was amazing. How fun was it just to take pictures of Pokemons? That was so great. And again, that didn't take away from the mainline series. I mainly watched the show growing up. I was a big fan of the show. I didn't watch all of it, but again, I did enjoy it. It was fun just being able to see all the different Pokemon. That was my childhood there. That was my introduction to Pokemon through the show. And I think they captured the show really well with the fact that you're actually catching Pokemon with your Pokeball. Instead of battling Pokemon, you're actually going out there trying to befriend the Pokemon, and then you can catch them in your Pokeball, and then with those Pokemon, you can go to actual Pokemon trainer battles and battle against them and use your Pokemon, use different abilities, and that's how you play this game. So I really like that there's two different game mechanics, two different battle systems in this game. But again, I do understand the core series, it is different from that. So the main story of this game, you start off, you get to create your character. I like that. You can pick a boy or a girl, you get to choose different hairstyles, and then you can set up an adventure. And as you're going on, you get to collect different clothing. That's a really fun bonus right there. You get all different clothings for yourself. You can wear a different hat, backpack, different shirts and shoes, and you can also get different clothing for your Pokemon. Pikachu, I can put different hats on him or shirt. He looks so adorable. And you're setting off in the world to become the ultimate Poke Trainer. There are different subplots in this game, such as Team Rocket. They're in this series and they're trying to, they're trying to catch all the Pokemon and sell them. They're doing their evil ways and you want to be able to stop them. So you're going to come across a lot of Team Rocket trainers out there that you're going to battle against, and through those battles, you're leveling up your Pokemon, and each one of your Pokemon in your actual Pokemon party, because you get about, I think, 6 different Pokemon you can keep in your Pokeballs. And yes, as your main Pokemon levels up, all your Pokemon in your main party level up as well. So again, I do understand that there is a more easier leveling up game mechanic in this game compared to the main series, where you had to literally fight with each one of the Pokemon to level them up. But I do like this fact that you can level them all up in your party. So again, it does make it a little bit easier, but actually it just makes it a little bit less time consuming. And I thought this game was going to be really quick. I thought it was going to be quick, 15 hours, maybe 20 hours, and then that's it. But there's a lot more to this game than just 15 hours. This game is much more in-depth than you realize. At the beginning of the game, I found that I was just using Pikachu, just fighting through the battles, catching Pokemon. But then I came to realize that I did have to switch out my Pokemon. There are all different abilities. As they level up, they get different stats and fighting abilities, so you're constantly swapping out old fighting abilities for new ones. That's really cool right there. You're getting new, stronger abilities for your Pokemon, so you can use them to fight in Poke battles. And it's just fun being able to play with all these different Pokemon. You can create your very own unique battle to your game style. Again, each one is stronger against other ones. And what's even more fun is seeing them out in the world. That's a huge difference between the main game and this game. Traditionally, Pokemon games were just random encounters. You wouldn't see any of the Pokemon on this screen. You would just be going along and you just have a random battle against a Pokemon. But in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, you actually see the Pokemon out in the world. You see them on the screen, and I actually really like that. I'm a big fan of that. I love games like Legend of Zelda. I love the E series. I'm a big fan of Secret of Mana. All those games had the actual enemies out on the screen, so you could go up and approach them and fight them. You could choose to neglect them and try to avoid them and go around them, or oftentimes they would come to you and fight you. So in Pokemon Let's Go, they take that mechanic and introduce it into this series. You actually see the Pokemon, and they constantly pop up. Some will avoid you and some will come straight to you. And how cool was it when you would see a new rare Pokemon that you haven't seen yet? You would just see them pop up on the screen and you would chase them down, hopefully get to them in time, because some of them, the rare ones, well, they would just pop up and then disappear. Poof! It was just so addictive just seeing new Pokemon out there, going out there, chasing them down to capture them. But I get it. It's different from the mainline series. And what's mainly different is that with this game, you're not just battling the Pokemon, instead you're just capturing them. You're throwing your Pokeball and trying to capture them. Yes, you have to use the motion controls. I understand that. They created that Pokeball Plus for this game, so they want you to use your motion controls, and you want to make sure you just time it right, toss the ball at them, and poof, you capture them. But there is more to it than just that, because that circle has different stages. There's green, yellow, and red, and each one of them is more difficult. So sometimes you'll throw your Pokeball and poof, they'll just jump right out. There are different items that will help boost your percentage of capturing them. There's raspberries out there that you can throw at them that will make them easier to catch. But again, I get it. I understand the motion controls. People are not a fan of that. Like myself, I've never really been a fan of motion controls. It's just not my cup of tea. I think there's a fine line between motion controls and actual controller inputs. Games like Breath of the Wild, I think they capture the motion controls perfect, because you're actually using your controller inputs like with the bow and arrow, but you can use your motion controls on your controller just to tweak it just a little bit enough, just for that exact precision to capture and fight enemies. I think that is a perfect combination of motion controls and actual game controller inputs. And I think if they would have done that with this game, allow people to use your Pro Controller, time it, hit A, but use your Pro Controller to use the motion controls just to get exact precision, that would be perfect. But if you're not a fan of the motion controls, well, guess what? What is the Nintendo Switch perfect at? What is it known for? Portability in handheld mode. Pick the Switch up out of the dock and play it in handheld mode. Once I did that, I realized it was so much better. Capturing Pokemon is much more enjoyable. Instead of using motion controls, you actually just have to time the circle right and then hit A at the right time to capture them. Then you'll toss your ball automatically when you hit the A button. No longer do you have to use the motion controls. And with the Switch, you could use that little bit of extra precision. If they're jumping around, you could just hit your Switch and just move it a little bit, just so that you aim properly, and then you can hit A, and then he will throw the Pokeball, and then you'll be able to capture them. Brilliant! that's what they should have done to begin with. Instead of 100% having to use motion controls, just use your Switch in handheld mode. It just makes it so much better. And you're not doing this, doing circles with your Switch, you know, trying to aim all around. It just adds that little bit of an extra precision, and then you time it with A and perfect. So I like that there's two different battle mechanics in this game. I gotta say, this game is oddly addictive. I just cannot stop going out there and catching them. I gotta catch them all because you get your Pokédex, it gives you some stats and information about each one of the Pokemon. It is so addictive. I just gotta catch them all, especially when they evolve, because they have 3 different stages of the Pokemon. Once you capture them, you have your first stage, and then they evolve to their second stage, and it makes them stronger and cooler looking, and then they evolve to their final stage, and that's when it is really amazing, because then they get all big and awesome and vicious looking, and on top of that, well, you can ride a Pokemon. You can ride on top of a Pokemon! How cool is that? You can have your Pokemon, you know, riding on top of your shoulder or your head, so you've got your Pokemon riding on you, and then you're riding on a Pokemon. Pokeception! And the overworld is much more expansive than I thought it was going to be. Again, I thought it was going to be a quick 15-hour game, but it is much more expansive. There's a whole map inside here. This is really cool that they have this. When I opened it up, I was surprised. But again, this game is much more expansive than I originally thought. All the haters out there, they were getting into my mind, so I came into this game with really low expectations, and that just blew me away. I realized how addictive this game is, how much content is actually in this game. You want to go out to each one of the gyms to fight the gym leader, to collect the badges, and then you can be the ultimate Pokemon trainer. And I'm about 20 hours into this game. I just got my 4th badge, so that says a lot right there. There's 8 badges in total, and then you fight the final boss or the end level. So there's probably about, I'd estimate, about 40 hours of actual gameplay in this game. There's a bunch of different towns and cities that you're adventuring towards, there's different caves that you can progress through. There's caves that go down below ground with different levels. There's a tower filled of ghosts where you have to proceed up through this giant tall skyscraper going, you know, trying to sneak around different ghosts, so that's a whole new mechanic. So there are different unique dungeons in this game, there's different cities to proceed to, there's a lot of content, much more in depth than I originally thought, and that's a good thing. I'm very glad that they brought this game to Nintendo Switch, and again, this isn't part of the main Pokemon series. This is technically a spin-off for the Pokemon Go fans. The main Pokemon series is coming, the main game in 2019, so there is another Pokemon game coming out next year. So if you don't think this game is for you, well, there's another Pokemon coming just around the corner. Don't worry, just wait. This game won't take anything away from your childhood. All those games are still there. It's a fun, enjoyable game. I have to say, it's definitely the best looking Pokemon game out there, because all the other ones were on, you know, the Game Boy Advance, Nintendo DS, the 3DS, so this is actually on the main Nintendo console, so it's definitely the best looking. Do yourself a favor and pick up this game. Just give it a chance, because I'm telling you, you'll find how addictive it is. Just capturing all the Pokemon. So thank you for joining us today for another episode of Wormys Playhouse, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and we'll see you again for another episode. We'll see you then. Bye!